The financial history is filled with stories of success that frequently center on Wall Street titans, millionaire investors, and business magnates. Nevertheless, there is a compelling story that goes against the conventional paths that the world of finance has taken. One such story is about Mrs. Watanabe, the unassuming Japanese housewife who, from her humble kitchen, not only negotiated the complex world of Forex trading, but also outwitted global finance titans. Today, we will talk about how Japanese housewives outsmarted global finance. Mrs. Watanabe made her fortune by trading foreign currencies. Mrs. Watanabe's narrative throws a light on the potential of calculated risk-taking, adaptation, and the indomitable spirit of individuals to transform the financial landscape via its incredible journey, which spans decades and economic catastrophes. In 1999, the world's attention was captivated by the looming Y2K phenomenon and the meteoric rise of the dot-com industry. Amidst this global commotion, a distinctive narrative was quietly taking shape in Japan, set against the backdrop of a persistently ailing economy, plagued by job losses, plunging prices, and stagnant interest rates. Since the 1990s, a group of ingenious housewives stumbled upon an unconventional opportunity: foreign currency trading, commonly known as Forex trading. As their male counterparts grappled with the harsh realities of financial hardships, these homemakers fearlessly ventured into the intricate world of Forex trading, leveraging their nation's economic predicaments to their advantage. In a society where gender roles were often narrowly defined, these women defied expectations by delving into the realm of finance. Armed with determination and a newfound understanding of the foreign exchange market, these housewives embarked on a journey that challenged societal norms and transformed their lives. They navigated the complexities of currency fluctuations and market dynamics, carving a niche for themselves in a predominantly male-dominated domain. With the global economy evolving rapidly and the internet opening up new avenues, these women seized the opportunity to generate income independently, contributing not only to their households but also to their own empowerment. The phenomenon of housewives entering the world of Forex trading was a proof to resilience and adaptability. It showcased the power of individuals to perceive opportunities where others saw challenges, and it highlighted the potential for financial success even in the face of economic adversity. These women demonstrated that innovation knows no bounds, and that with the right mindset, ordinary individuals can become trailblazers. In spite of the gloomy economic forecast, Mrs. Watanabe and her fellow housewives discovered a financial strategy known as the carry trade that would put them on the road to achieving their goals and being financially independent. They had the chutzpah to borrow yen at a low interest rate and then exchange it for currencies with a higher interest rate, which allowed them to make a profit from the interest rate differentials. In spite of the fact that conventional financial professionals laughed at their initiatives, these ordinary housewives ended up raking in significant riches. The fact that they were able to complete their trades in the midst of other daily responsibilities, such as eating breakfast and taking their children to school, highlighted their financial savvy. A sea change occurred in people's ideas about what constitutes success in the early years of the new millennium. As the carry trade tactic began to produce results, Mrs. Watanabe and the other members of her group started to see considerable gains. They were able to achieve lavish lifestyles that had before been out of their reach. They began to associate their success with material possessions such as expensive automobiles, lavish vacations, and many mansions. Mrs. Watanabe had transformed herself from a thrifty homemaker into a high-rolling trader, shattering stereotypes and going against the grain of cultural standards in the process. A rude awakening to the harsh realities of business life came in the form of the Russian financial crisis in the year 1998. As a result of the instability that occurred on the world market, the value of the yen rose, and the housewives found themselves in a position where they faced significant losses. This crisis served as a defining moment, illuminating for Mrs. Watanabe and the rest of her classmates the highly unstable character of the financial markets. However, rather than giving up and accepting failure, they used this setback as fuel to strengthen their will to become experts in the complexity of Forex trading. The collapse of the housing bubble in the United States in 2008 ushered in an epoch-defining crisis that reverberated throughout the international financial system. As a direct consequence of the ensuing panic, investors rushed to secure assets, such as the Japanese yen. Once again, Mrs. Watanabe watched as the value of the yen increased, causing her earnings to vanish. This incident further illustrates the risks that are inherent in the carry trading approach. Despite this, she did not allow herself to become disheartened. This time, she decided to reinvent herself rather than go into hiding, and she adopted day trading as a dynamic strategy for navigating the ever-changing financial landscape. The path that Mrs. Watanabe took transcended individual achievement and went on to influence the following generations of investors. Her story became illustrative of the potential that individuals have to mold their own financial futures because of her resiliency, adaptability, and willingness to take risks after careful consideration. While Mrs. Watanabe handled the changing economic tides, her tale inspired others to break free from traditional financial restrictions and seek empowerment through education. She did this while she navigated the changing economic tides. It is a credit to her drive to learn new things and adapt that she transitioned into day trading with the help of online trading classes and increased technology. One individual came at a time when financial giants and Wall Street maestros held weight in the world. This figure broke limits and redefined the very essence of what it means to be successful. This person was none other than Mrs. Watanabe, a woman whose life journey surpassed societal conventions and gender expectations, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire and reverberate even today. Mrs. Watanabe's life adventure began at a time when gender roles were not as clearly defined as they are today. Mrs. Watanabe was more than simply a person. She was a symbol of empowerment in a society that frequently undervalued the strength of individuals, and particularly the power of women. Mrs. Watanabe beat the odds by succeeding in a field where men financiers predominated the terrain. She was not pleased with being relegated to conventional duties, so she carved out a special place for herself in the business world instead. Her narrative exemplified the principle of unfettered financial autonomy in its most basic form. Her story exemplified the concept that one's gender does not dictate one's chances of being successful, and it demonstrated that everyone, regardless of their assigned status in society, is capable of navigating their own path to economic independence. It is nothing short of astounding how Mrs. Watanabe went from being a fairly typical housewife to a shining example of financial savvy throughout the course of her life. Her transformation disproved preconceived notions and demonstrated the efficacy of dogged persistence. Her narrative struck a chord with a great number of people, demonstrating that one's domestic sphere might, in fact, serve as a springboard to greater financial success. She provided evidence that a person's influence on the economy of the entire world might be significant even from seemingly insignificant locations. However, Mrs. Watanabe's legacy is not limited to the field of economics alone. It was an account of her bravery and ability to adjust, two traits that came to define her path. She welcomed change enthusiastically in a world that frequently resists moving forward with new ideas. She was able to adjust to the shifting economic landscape, successfully navigate uncharted territory, and leave her mark. Her experience served as a reminder that accepting change and moving out of one's comfort zone can lead to unmatched growth and transformation if one is willing to pursue these paths. The story of Mrs. Watanabe's life was more than just a tale of material prosperity. Rather, it was a cautionary tale about the power of personal influence. She demonstrated that a single individual, if propelled by passion and commitment, can change the direction that events take. Her deeds caused a reverberation that spread across society, motivating people to take charge of their own lives. She was living proof of the maxim that the source of our actual strength is within ourselves, just waiting to be tapped into for the benefit of others. Mrs. Watanabe left behind a legacy that will go on for generations, which is evidence that her influence extended well beyond her own era. Her life continues to serve as a source of motivation for younger people, inspiring them to defy convention and strive for excellence. Her life serves as an inspiration to many people, igniting a spark in them and encouraging them to fiercely follow their aspirations. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.